Okay, here we are. Indeed, ride the tiger. That's what we're gonna call it today. So it's actually amusing. How you doing there, Vulcan? Good to have you, my man. How are you doing? Yeah, he sent me an email this morning saying, "Oh, whoops, I forgot to send the turn." So, yeah, he forgot to send the turn, so I've got that now. So that was rather amusing. Oh, trying to find like a way to sit the phone. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Indeed, ride the tiger. I like that. I think it's gonna be interesting. He did name the turn, something rather interesting though. F off, I'm full. I can't remember what I named the turn before that might have provoked that. I'm not too sure, so I think we had the Folakyanko last turn, didn't we? So we shall see, we shall see. Okay. Hopefully my phone's going to work and actually show the chat. I need like some sort of stand for it, that'd be great. Okay. We did see cruisers around this, and I did decide to actually have these patrol boats head back to Buna and to other places that were fairly close by, or just to expand into port, really, where it was actually safe to do so. Our warships are heading down to Tulagi, so we are unloading troops there. The Kidavatai is heading south. The escort carrier Unyo, I believe it is heading to Tulagi as well. I have been spreading submarines out around the many... Oh, well, there we go! Speak of the devil! Oh! Oh, yes, of course. Of course, yeah, there we go. Every time. Every time. So I'm just going to check something. Now, people... Oh, okay. I just had to check and make sure that my app was working. And it is indeed. Yeah, so, there we go. I-164. That's kind of disappointing. I was literally about to say that I have had submarines spread out over here, and maybe we'll pick up on something, but no. They have guns. They don't often elect to use them. But that would have been nice, but at least we could see there's actually brilliant tankers there. How you doing there, silly? Yeah, and as the Vulcan says, unescorted tanker. So it's just like, you've got a gun. Just use the gun. I don't know. Those ones are fresh submarines, actually. They're the ones that came out of Kopang, I think it was. So they will be fresh. Not too bad there, silly. I finished my class for today. I've got a bunch of kanji to study later on today. But I thought I'd get the turn done and have a bit of time just to chill. Have a bit of chill time. Yeah, we can take a look at the actual captains. It's interesting, isn't it, really? I do kind of hope he actually does send his cruisers in towards like the Tulagi area or Bal area. We do have actual measures in place to respond to that if he did so. But I doubt he will. Okay, sighting there of a Jake. Sorry, sighting by a Jake. Hopefully he doesn't get tipped off to Kidavatai moving south too soon. I'd rather him not know. That'd be ideal. A Jake shouldn't tip him off that it's a Kidavatai. But we'll hope for the best. Okay, we're moving into the day phase here, so never reaction. Right, so still moving those troops out from Tongi. I would like them out sooner rather than later. It's a big old ship. Ooh, hit with no explosion, that's good. Good, okay. So, the AP Brazil Maru should be able to make it out there. Lacking a couple escorts in that area, to be honest. ships near. Tongi's interested now. That should be within range. Well, looks like his carriers might be in the area. So it looks like we... I mean, if they're going to strike at the group of Tongi, that's going to be the loss of Naval Guardian that's been loaded. Yeah, looks like we are striking. Looks like... Well, this is quite typical then. So, Kinematai is 2 days south. That's okay, we can turn that. Not a bad situation, really, because this is generally the situation we were kind of looking for. I didn't expect it to happen, but we'll see. We'll see what things turn out like. Okay, bombing over here. We are attacking over here now. It would have been very, very interesting to see what would have happened had those G3s actually flown then. Okay, so 341 casualties here. I believe we're attacking here again as well. Yeah, quite the task force there near the Martians. Interesting. A very aggressive move, though. A very aggressive move. It does make me wonder... Okay, yeah, so he's gonna get that guy. So, well, that's a shame. Yeah, so they're carrying the Naval Guard. That kind of sucks, but I guess that happens. At least they're a Tongi. Kind of a shame, though. Yeah, that kind of sucks. That was a Naval Guard unit there. Oh, I've been trying to pull them out of Tongi for the last 3 days. That's a shame. This is an AK in the area to detect, so we do see another task force over here. Then. Interesting. So, we know there's at least 2 carriers in that area, then. Okay, that gives us a lot to work with in terms of information. Kind of sucks about the Naval Guard. I had tried to pull that out. I do wonder how much information we may actually have there. Yeah, they're trying to target. Ooh, okay. So we have 69 zeros. This is our first actual strike. It's a shame that we actually do not have much in the way of G3s here. But we do have 69 zeros. If we can actually attrit his cap, I'm going to be quite happy there. And it looks like we have good numbers to do that. Did I just see that we're diving there? They're diving. Right, okay. We do have the numbers here, so let's hope for the best. It's a shame that we don't have many G3s coming in here. Right, we have a Wildcat damaged. 0 destroyed though, unfortunately. Yeah. Invisible, you say? Oh, you mean here, right. Well, it's actually interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good point there. Yeah, no, you're right there. Another 0 down. We'll speed this up then. Not looking too great on our end there in terms of numbers, but we still have the numbers there to make it work. So 7 make it through. And that is Yorktown. Come on, please. Oh, come on, please. That's another down. Come on, just land one. Just one would be so nice. Oh, fuck me! Every time. That would have been nice to put at least a torpedo into the Yorktown. But we have lost a couple zeros here. Okay, so it's a shame there. Yorktown. Yorktown's definitely American there. We did have... The numbers are there, but you can see that we've had issues with the actual G3s and the weather. They are set to attack in as large a number as we can manage. It's just the weather that seems to have been a big problem here. Which is not too bad, really. It did mean that we did have a fairly hefty escort there. So that'd be an interesting day, then. It would have been very good to have had landed a torpedo, at least. That would have been nice. But, so we lost quite a few zeros, but I think we inflicted damage on him as well. So not the worst thing. It would have been excellent, though, to have landed a torpedo. If we'd have landed a torpedo, that would have been a success. Now, amazing timing that Kitabatai has left at this point, isn't it? Yeah, it comes up with things and it's often wrong sometimes. You can kind of ignore that for the most part. It did come up saying indomitable, but yeah, it's not correct. Often, when you actually get to attack the ship, you're usually given very accurate information. So, I'm going to say that's a slight victory for us, because at the end of the day, that's restricting his cap with land-based zeros. I mean, I imagine we didn't perform as well as we could do because they're not the cream of the crop in terms of pilots. But as I guess, those may be potentially his best. No, it's definitely your town, don't worry. Well, because at the end of the day, we produce 5 zeros a day of Oaken. I haven't had to use my Kitabatai zeros, so obviously those are the best pilots. If we can say that those are potentially his best pilots on his carriers, how many Wildcats is he producing? I mean, this is it. So I don't know what the replacement rate of his F1, whatever model it is, Wildcat. So how does that compare to ours? I mean, we know that we have 5 zeros a day. This is it. It's like it would have been an actual victory, I suppose you could say, had we had a torpedo strike home. That would have been very nice. But I think that works out for us in terms of attritional. But I don't know what the numbers are yet. But I did decide to go ahead and attack over here with the tanks. I imagine we'll take some casualties, but I still want to hammer home an attack over here. I do feel like the tanks are cheaper to replace in a lot of ways than the actual division sometimes. They should be okay. They do have that armor. Yeah, so supply. So 11 destroyed, 50 disabled. It's not too bad. But wow, look at that, yeah. So we had 11 vehicles destroyed there, 50 disabled. But I mean, look at that, 2,509. So we destroyed 49 squads. Another 322 are disabled. 0 destroyed, 26 disabled. 1 destroyed, 1 disabled. 1 gun destroyed, 16 disabled. There should have been a bombing mission against this unit here. So we did have a lack of supply of some of the units there. But in fairness, I'm quite happy with that. That's pretty damn good there, actually. I mean, these vehicles can be replaced. But this actually further weakens him. He's using supply here. So I think that's pretty good for us there, really. Yeah, shock attack in this unit here. The 259 Brigade needs to be destroyed. I was hoping they'd surrender there. Oh, I get what you mean there. Yeah, I see where you're coming from now. Yeah, we'll keep attacking that unit until it is destroyed there. Right, we do have our deliberate attack over here at Shangtan. Now, we do have 3rd Division, 39th Division, 4th Division, 41st Division, and elements of the 51st. Some helpful mortars have arrived, but they're only a mortar battalion. But still, it helps, it helps. Should win that battle here today. Yeah, and it's, so going back to the carriers, we did have more G3s that were due to strike, but the weather seems bad. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. Oh, we do catch a Shangtan, which is no surprise there. Yeah, they continue to retreat towards Changte. Which road are they going to take? I assume this way? I kind of hope that they would retreat into Changsha, to be honest. So yeah, they do go this way. I would have hoped that they would have retreated in here, so I wonder if that suggests that Changsha does not have much in the way of supply there. Oh yeah, look at that, 7,200 casualties. We had 2 destroyed. That seems to be a magical number as of late, 2. So 2 destroyed there, 69 disabled. We inflict 7,200 casualties there, 226 squads destroyed there. So we might have actually destroyed all the AV for the most part here. Or at least a good majority of it. 487, usually you do see disabled here as well. So 487 destroyed. Maybe there's no units that are actually active and they're all disabled as is. Or now they are. So 37 destroyed there, 16 guns destroyed, 1 disabled. So 1 unit was destroyed. I didn't see which one it was, but 5 retreat there. We do secure Xiangtan there. That's always a good thing. Okay, we're attacking here again. Now he's going to take some time to break down, but he has nowhere to go, and he is going to run out of supply. Bombard him here. Yeah, shame about the Naval Guard unit. That would have been nice to have got out there, but hey, as is typical, they take too long. Okay, attacking here, 0 AV. It does make me wonder then, what do we do with Kitabatai? We could potentially fly zeros from the Kitabatai to the Marshals, but we'll see. We're in a very interesting position now because our carriers are a very unknown thing for him right now. So that'd be an interesting one. We do also see a second carrier group as well, so intriguing really. Oh shit, he's actually shock attacking, wow. Okay, that's impressive. They may be driven off, and I'm likely going to see this. That's actually interesting though, but it happens after. Very interesting. Yeah, never actually considered that. How does it work if we both attack each other? I don't think I've ever seen... When have we actually seen a situation like this, where we actually have two attacks on a force in the same turn? Interesting. Yeah, attack fell, yeah, no, right. I think... we're probably going to be driven out here, but this will still work out well for us in general, to be honest. I do feel like the tanks are fairly cheap to replace. I mean, this is going to use a lot of supply for him, really. It's going to leave him in a very interesting situation. I mean, these are the units that can take an attack. It looks like an armoured car unit was wiped out there, but they're cheap to replace. This is why I quite like the tanks. They're actually fairly cheap for the most part. The armoured car companies generally are too brittle. I believe they were equipped with the tankettes. But yeah, I'm not miffed about this. Yeah, how did we do there? No one unit was destroyed there. So 48 destroyed there, 24 disabled. So actually, we didn't inflict any losses on them, which is a bit of a shame there. But I'm still not against that. That works out for us. We'll be here in this hex next turn. But he's used a lot of supply there. Okay, I mean, obviously it sucks having those vehicles, but I can replace them. I do feel like they are fairly easy to replace for us. And they're definitely serving their purpose. It's a shame that they didn't actually have any losses inflicted on them in return. But then again, the battle reports sometimes are not reliable. Well, they're often not reliable. But either way, we can replace those tanks. Our forces will be south, I believe, next turn, but that's keeping him in that hex, so I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so a very interesting turn this turn. Well, a very interesting time this turn. A lot to ponder. I mean, the presence of a second carrier group is rather intriguing. I do wonder who's actually doing with that one. I mean, how many carriers are in this first group is unknown, really. Will be very interesting. A new air defense regiment is very nice. We can upgrade them with radar. But attacking the Marshall Islands is very intriguing. Very, very intriguing. Okay, I didn't think he'd go for something so aggressive. Alright, we'll save this here and take a look at the actual turn. But I guess this is it. Where else would he attack? Maybe the actual move towards Japan was a little bit more serious than we first thought, but then I don't know if he actually could have managed that due to the actual timing of things. He does have a couple more carriers than he did at the start of the war, so it's interesting. He can definitely split them up. Yeah, I'll take a look at those in a second there, Evoken. Well, I mean, this is it. The Kitabatai was heading south to help us in that area. So 19, we have 10 there. That's not too bad, really. Not great, don't get me wrong, obviously it's not fantastic. Ops there doesn't help, but that's not too bad. Looks like he had an ops there of a Dauntless. It would have been great there to have taken down some of the actual attack craft. But that's not too bad. That's not too bad. The Nell loss is not so bad. It would have been great had they actually gone in there to attack. How you doing there, Mexi? Good to have you, my friend. An interesting opening skirmish, I would say, there. I don't know what... if somebody could actually take a look at the replacement rates for these guys, that'd give me some more information to work with. Right now, I'm going to say that's not too bad. We had roughly a 2-to-1, give or take. I mean, this could be... I think these can be unreliable as well. I can't recall. I think, yeah, I believe these can be unreliable. Ours are generally reliable. But I'm unsure what the replacement rate is for the F4. So obviously our losses were greater, but I think we can replace ours. Right, okay, so interesting, very interesting. Shame about that unit there. How you doing there, Kag? He did decide to go ahead and actually bring his carriers into play, which is interesting. But we know that a strike came out from here as well, so that's very intriguing. But again, yeah, so Kidappatai is not too far away, really. Not too far away. They're only 14 hexes away from Roynamur. 4 and 8. Is that like per month? This is like, I mean, this is it. I would have preferred to have gone a torpedo or two into the Yorktown there. That would have been like a nice way to have actually had that open up. Let's see what we have then. So, okay, in terms of numbers then, we have 100 and, yeah, we have 100 here ready. There's another 8 that are not ready right now, so we still have 100 zeros. Yeah, no, but that's the thing there, Evoken, isn't it? It's like he has, well, let's say, so he has like 60 of them. Okay, but how many are we producing in a month? In terms of zeros, that's the way to compare them. I don't think he can throw away Wildcats, not that he intends to do so. I think that still worked out well for us. We still have the Kidappatai pilots in the zeros here. They're still fresh. While as I can only assume that these are his better pilots than the carriers, which is probably why he had a more favourable result in terms of... But still, 2-to-1's not so bad. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Yeah, but Evoken, not everything's doom and gloom. I mean, we had like 19 for about 10. That's not bad. Well, of course it matters how many we produce. Of course it matters. Because at the end of the day, he's working with a more finite pool, while we have a pool that is larger. No, but that doesn't make sense, though. Of course we're going to attrition the enemy when they're the one to engage. I mean, why do you think the Hedgehog developed in such a way? I mean, this is it. It might be up to the actual Predator when it attacks, but at the end of the day, that's a passive defense. No, but I think you're taking this out of context. These are not our best pilots. Our best pilots are the Kidappatai. I think 2-to-1 is about right. I think that's probably as good as we could probably get. I mean, obviously we could have done potentially better with altitudes, but these guys are set to an altitude to escort. Why are they set at 31? That's kind of weird. Oh, well, that one group was set at 31, which is rather interesting. But generally, they're set to 14, which is not the most favourable engagement. Oh, build rates monthly. Thank you. No, I disagree. I disagree. I really do disagree. I mean, my god, if we lose like 20 zeros now, and we're like, oh, we're doomed, what we're going to do later on, I think it's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, this is it. You've got to see as well that these are not our best pilots. Like, let's go ahead and take a look. They're not bad pilots by any means. Not bad at all, but you can see here a lot of these numbers aren't as great as they could be. So let's take a carrier over here, for instance, then. Look, so these are much higher on average. So I think this is something that we have to bear in mind. As far as it goes, aircraft are cheap, pilots aren't. We know that we can replace the actual aircraft. Losing pilots isn't fantastic, but he's losing pilots and he's losing aircraft as well. Now, in this engagement, who can actually replace their losses easier? We're working from a position, and bear in mind, like, he shot down our G3s. Had they actually struck home with a torpedo, he would have definitely come out on the losing end there. But he's aware of that now. Yeah, but Evoken, we have a lot of zeros. I mean, this is it. We have a lot more squadrons. And then, like, I mean, this is it. We have a lot of squadrons. We have a lot of pilots. We're using them for training primarily. We don't have the best of the best in every squadron. So I'm going to politely disagree. I think if we're looking at that as like a terrible situation, then, well, what we're going to do? Because it's like, well, how can we make this more favourable? I mean, we could have had like the best of the best pilots in there, but then we didn't anticipate an actual attack of the Marsh Islands. But then this is it. What more can we do? Unless I knew this attack was coming, which I didn't, then I can't put the better pilots in here. Had we had better pilots, had we had them actually at different altitudes, then yeah, that could have been a more favourable engagement. But then the thing to work with here as well is that he has the benefit of the altitude. For example, he's actually running a cap, so he can have a layered cap, while we're coming in at a more uniform altitude. So of course it's going to have a greater advantage by having that flexibility that we don't have. No? Does that make sense? I feel like people have been a little bit too negative on that one, really. Yes, but they've returned. We do have a couple of submarines in the area, and the majority had to return due to damage and low endurance. That, and I don't think they were achieving too much. At least at that time. I would also aware there's a tanker out here somewhere. Would have been nice if I had some information to work with, but alas no. Now, I'm not seeing his cruisers out here. Okay. No, it's not a loss. I mean, this is it. Is every battle is a war decided by a battle? I mean, it's not an outright victory, but it's a victory in a sense of that we're restricting his power as well. Oh no, we had many a failed invasion at Wake. He's really nasty at Wake. He did explain that this is a strategy he's been using before, so it's quite interesting. No, but so what's a win in your book then, Evoken? I mean, had it gone great, then yeah, that'd have been great. But I don't understand, like, with Japan, we're going to lose. So, okay, you explain to me in this situation what we could have done. Because I don't know how else we could say this. 2-1's not bad. We have 5 zeros a day, so in 4 days we replace those losses. We lost some pilots, but they weren't our best pilots, so we still have our best pilots. Well, we can only assume that he may have expended his superior pilots, one may say. I don't know how else we can say this. I don't think it's as bad as it's been made out. I think we do have to be a little bit more objective, that we are fighting a war where we are... Well, this is it. I mean, he is picking the engagement. I mean, it's 5 per day for, what, 30 days? I assume, I don't know, 30 or 31 days. I forget how many days are in this month. But 5 a day. No, I think that's bullshit regarding the KB usage. Like, how are we meant to know that it's going to be coming in here? Like, is it actually proper uses of Kidapati to sit in the Marsh Islands? I disagree. We made our move to go south. I did not know he was going to be attacking there. But we're moving the Kidapati south here to support operations in this area, where we can actually achieve something, and actually achieve an objective. Kidapati sitting over here at the Marshall Islands, obviously in retrospect would have been better, but then, yeah, this is it. It would have been better in retrospect, but we didn't know this was coming. But as far as it goes with long-range Cap and Tongi, yeah, I suppose so. But I didn't anticipate them taking 3 days to get their asses moving. But no, I mean, this is it. It's always hard to say what the best usage of them is, really. I mean, previous days have suggested that he wasn't in the area with the carriers, that he'd actually retired them. This is a aggressive move. But I don't think we've come off bad there. I mean, we've had 2 G3s lost, and about 19 or so zeros. He's had about 10 or so Wildcats. Obviously, he will have a decent number of Wildcats, but he doesn't have an infinite number of Wildcats. The Kidapati is an unknown factor right now. He doesn't know where they are. He's also been greeted by about, what, 80-something zeros that rose up in an attack against him. As far as it goes now, we can actually adapt our situation. Because he's coming in here now, so what is he going to do? He got lucky and got that target there. Would have been great had that not been sunk, but okay, I'll take that. But as far as it goes, what options does he have now? Does he continue into the Marsh Islands? Does he not? Yeah, there we go. So, I kept raiding ports industry in Australia. Well, there we go. So we're actually now moving towards a more active pursuit with the Kidapati. But it's not as if we've had an easy time, and we had, obviously, troubles down here in the south. Well, no, this is it, but it's not as if we didn't try to use the Kidapati when we actually had the ability to do so in a more on a more advantageous, can't speak today, advantageous plane. I mean, we did try, but right now the situation isn't particularly fantastic. We could go with the Kidapati held to lever against this force, but we might win, we might lose. Is it worth that? Or is it worth actually trying to take it on a more advantageous position, from a more advantageous position? I think this is fine. I think it's okay. It's not great, but I think it's okay, in all honesty. I think we'll be alright there, really. I mean, this is it. What are his options now? I mean, this is why I left the Fuso class over here, the Fuso and Yamashiro. We could go for a position now of where, if we wanted to, for example, I could have them use into a cap mode, so I could just keep them on cap. And then if he comes in to actually attack Roynama, then they're flying cap, and they're going to find it much easier. I mean, we do have... well, they're moving out, so that's good news. Yeah, see, this is it. Things like this are moving out. I do want to get them moving out a little sooner. We can also reinforce our position here at the Marshall Islands if we so wish to do so. It's a very interesting debate, really. But I think the thing is, fundamentally, every game is different. And yes, most games are very similar at the start, but then we had a very different start, didn't we? We had a Pearl Harbor that didn't go as we anticipated. We had the American carriers move aggressively, and we did try to engage, but then we guessed wrongly as to where he would go. So it's always been a very interesting situation, a very dynamic one, really, in this game. But I mean, we could debate that, but I mean, this is it. I will respectfully disagree, but there we are. As happened in real life, interpretation of events is open to those who are giving that opinion. And not every opinion is correct. I'm not saying that my opinion is correct, I'm just feeling it. My general feeling is on it at the moment, that, okay, that's not so bad. It would have been great had we had the opportunity to land a torpedo, but hey, it is what it is. Okay. Quite happy to have the additional H6Ks over here as well. Yep, our support element's moving in here. That's good. Yeah, so shortly we'll be able to make our push down here. Now, it's intriguing that we're not seeing much in this area. I do wonder. There is much to be said, though, about this. Oh, we're not fighting, don't worry about that. It's just debate. Debate's healthy, debate is reasonable, and not everybody's going to agree, but that is the adult thing to do. It's to be able to present an argument. Avoken and others have presented arguments. They have given evidence to substantiate that, and that's cool. It's all civil in my book. Okay. But we did see a second strike out from here, which is interesting, so we'll have to see what we can make of that. Again, it would have been great had we been able to strike at his Dauntlesses and the torpedo bombers. Yeah, as Mexi says there, what's he going to do now? That is the interesting question. That is the topic of discussion here now, isn't it? What does he do now? Because he's aware that there's zeros over here. And they weren't small numbers. I mean, this is it. We don't have an infinite amount of zeros out here, but we can shift additional zeros into this area if we do wish to do so. He doesn't know where the Kidbatai is. There's a lot of questions here. Yeah, exactly there, Quarter. No, he does not know where the Kidbatai is. Interesting. So our tanks had a bad day. Actually, not too bad, really. They're still here. Like, these tank regiments are still in, yeah, still alright. Armoured cars. Oh, so they were the armoured cars, not the tankettes. Okay. I thought it might have been the tankettes, which would have been a little bit more, resilient. Well, I mean, this is it. It's not as if we had the ability to really create a strategy. I mean, the actual loss today, then, was the loss of the actual naval guard. That one does suck. That is a bit of an annoyance, but it is what it is. I can't do much about that one. Now, we could have long-range capped that, but if we'd done that, then we would have had lesser numbers on escort duty. Things worked as they were meant to work, that's the thing. The thing that didn't work was the weather on our end. There was a lot of G3s that didn't fly, but that's not necessarily so bad. But I mean, this is it. Had we had more G3s actually flown, I think we might have been able to land at least some hits, potentially. Well, even their quarter, that's open to debate. He knows where Kidbatai isn't. Potentially so, but then it is a very interesting situation. How much does he know? How much will he know? How much does he suspect? And how much will he predict? Okay. Signal intelligence. We'll take a look then, shall we? Pearl, Seattle, Pearl. 2 at Pearl's always a good thing. Horn Island's interesting. Horn Island. Right, so... These numbers, then, is that, does that suggest 2 carriers, or 3 carriers, or 4, potentially? So we know there's another carrier at least over here, then. So let's think about this, then. So he went in this, then, without all of his carriers in one position here, which is interesting. Was he attempting to attrit our G3M2? So let's take a look at the range as well. 14, okay, yep, that looks like he was attempting to do here. So, the weather, I guess, played more into our hands in a way. Had we been able to shoot down more F4s, or whatever they're called, that would have been better. Oh, and the G3 attack, yeah, sure. So I think that was a move then to try and draw out our attack there. So he had... Oh, so that was the attack on the actual... Naval Guard unit. And then this was the AK to self, which was attacked by F1F3As. SBD2s. Okay. Yeah, it's a shame that they didn't. But they were going for the right target. It's just a shame they didn't drop. But what's kind of annoying is we did have 2 shot down. But then we had another 4 G3s, and I don't know. It didn't seem as if all of them had an attempt at actually hitting home. Had we actually hit the Yorktown, that would have been great. It would have been a nice little victory, this opening engagement. So, okay, I guess as far as it goes, what is the next move here? What is his next move? He could come in here to bombard, perhaps? I mean, that'd be interesting. So, how far away? Are we equidistant? We're equidistant right now. That's really amusing, isn't it? So the Kiddermitai is 14 hexes away from Roidamar, as are the Americans over here. So we're equidistant right now, which is actually rather interesting. But we do have almost a shield here. We have a lot to work with in this area. Ah, very interesting. Amoshiroi desu ne. Very interesting. Ah, there's the Unyo here. See, I can accomplish what I would like to do down here with just the Unyo. That could be potentially done. So we do have at least the zeros there to work with. Interesting. I'm trying to build up the port over here to Tulagi, by the way. Because it can be a size 3 port, it's actually going to be quite useful. I would like to try and make Tulagi maybe a bit of a naval depot. So I would like to expand that quite quickly. Now, troops should have been offloaded over here. And the good news as well is we actually have an unlimited amount of troop capacity here, which is pretty fantastic, actually. Okay. Right, so second/C is almost offloaded now, almost offloaded. And we are going to try and build the second division up over here, then. Right, doesn't seem he knows about this here. That's not too bad. It looks like they're not going to be able to unload. I don't seem to have the option to unload here. Yeah, it seems like can't unload here. That's a shame. So they will have to return over here to Tulagi then. I was hoping I could unload a little fuel there to make it a little cheaper as we move forward, but that's a no then. I may have our DD actually pick up that unit then. That'd probably be a wise thing to do. Okay. I was hoping to actually hit an AP in this area. Right, they're heading in there to refuel. Please do not unload, that's so annoying. Right, now load the troops. There we are. And then they can head over here. He's very good when it comes to his carriers. He's very cagey when it comes to his carriers. I mean, the fact that he's engaged at 14 is very telling, in my opinion. So, he's definitely feeling us out to a degree, then. the carriers behind is interesting. But then this is it. I suppose this is the thing, really. You know, this engagement reminds me of the Marianas in a way. Kind of what I predicted the Marianas are going to turn out is where we have Kidippitai here and the Americans here. I think this is kind of a pre-Mariana sort of engagement here. So and it's actually superior for us, really, because we do have a better position here for the most part. But then again, so does he, because he has Wake nearby. Interesting. That's so that's so wild there, Kag. I like that. That's so wild. Yeah, so let's see then. Now the Kidippitai, let's say for instance we wish to move. I think we'd be able to manage 8 with the slower carrier here. But I mean, this is it. I could long-range cap Roynamur from here if I so wish to do so. What I'm interested in, and the reason why I bring up the Marianas, is because we do have these islands over here. We do have these airfields. And that definitely works to our advantage. So this is why it reminds me of the Mariana situation. I'm not too sure. I think that would in an interesting position, because we could have a Kidippitai go to this position here. And I feel that may be possibly a wiser thing to do. Now, another question is he actually going to go ahead and strike over here? And he could do. And he could potentially sink these ships over here. But I think these guys are actually... I think they're okay, I guess. They're in a size 2 port. A size 3 port would be better, but it's not so bad. I would have preferred to have had the AA over here. It is on its way. Yeah, that really should head a little less direct, to be honest. I may have that head to the Marianas until it's safe, really. Had we had that air defense regiment over here, I'd feel better because we do have then the benefit of radar. And of course of additional AA guns, but I can't do much about that now. Right, still not seen any aircraft. Okay. Things for the most part then seems to be ticking along, as they normally do. Seems like things have wrapped themselves up in Burma for the most part. We do see ships over here. That's interesting. So apparently there's a CV here, but I don't know how much I actually put into that, considering that there's no aircraft sighted. We're still trying to get the actual supplies into Kienko over here. It has been made harder by this son of a bitch over here. But we'll be able to address that situation then shortly. It's going to be like this for at least another turn, which is kind of a pain. But supply is still moving in here, so it's not so bad. Have a unit moving this way, but that's another unit that can head down this way as well, which is quite useful. Secure our lines there. And what I decided to go ahead and do is move the 49th AA Battalion over here, just to have a unit in that hex until another unit with actual AV comes here. And then that gives us some much security there. So we are moving south. Now, I may go ahead and actually place everybody into combat mode. Do I have them remain in position? Is he going to launch another attack? And is that even a bad thing? I mean, of course it's a bad thing, but I mean, we still have... I will send the armoured car back. That I'll send back. We're struggling with a little bit of supply issues here, but the actual tank regiments for the most part look to be in fairly decent shape. It might be worthwhile to head back. I think it's probably worthwhile to head back. Is it better to take another attack in case he launches another attack? Is he capable of launching another attack? And likely so due to it being a shock attack. But then if he's launching an attack, I mean, he's not moving right now. So what I might go ahead and do then, I mean, our troops would arrive. Would they arrive in combat mode? We're on a major road, aren't we? Yeah, they were meant to actually go ahead and do that. They were meant to bomb him. Yeah, 8151. Oh, sorry, where are they? That's not right. Where's 7842? That's not right. That's weird. Did they... Oh, so they're bombing over here at Shangtan. Okay. Okay. Where were these bombing then? 7842. Right, so we had... Yeah, 7842. So they... I don't think they went ahead and bombed over here. So they... okay, fair enough. So I'd taken those bombs and had them bomb over here at Shangtan. But we've taken Shangtan now, so I can go ahead and divert them back north. I don't think they flew. But that explains some reason why there weren't more bombers. I'd forgotten about that. Hey, you there, Cal? Good to have you, my friend. I never played the China War, so not much experience. But isn't the war already won? For the most part, yes, in a way. Well, this is it. It's not ridiculous, though. I mean, in fairness, yes, they might have the numbers, but then you take a look at the actual terrain. So this is clear terrain. And they might not be Shermans or tanks of that nature, but then in clear terrain, there's a good number of them. And the Chinese have a rather large lack of anti-tank weaponry. Yes, they do have artillery, but they have had the shit kicked out of them. And they're quite low on supply as well, which is why he shock attacked. Well, he shock attacks. And a shock attack is a good situation for him. Yeah, I mean, this is it. You've got to kind of imagine this as there's a lot of troops, but if they don't really have the capability to damage these tanks, they have to try and charge them. And if you're in clear terrain and the tanks know you're coming, then you're not really going to have a great time. I think the supply issues causes the problem here. But there is a lot of troops, but then they're actually standing up to that fairly well. When you consider there's, what, 80,000 men there or so? And these guys weren't driven out the Hex. It stays quite a bit there. Anyway, so we're looking at 35 miles. So I need 11 miles. Now, we'd make 30 in movement mode. We, in theory, make 15 in combat mode. So we've got a bit of leeway. We do have some fatigue in our unit. So we might arrive there tomorrow. Even in combat mode. I will place them into combat mode. Yeah, we'll go in combat mode. We may arrive tomorrow, we may not arrive tomorrow. If anything, even if they don't arrive tomorrow, it gives them a little bit more time to recover. Our supply issues with the actual units here are actually resolved, which is good. So they seem to be good now. They're in good standing regarding supply situation. So that's good for us. Yeah, I'll pull back the armoured car. I may pull back the tank regiments in general, to be honest. They can move out in a turn. So I probably will pull them back. If I was more sure that the actual units would arrive here, I probably would leave them here. And there is a good chance that they will arrive here. But it's probably more prudent to have the tanks pull back. I'll have them pulled back for now. It's not so hard. Sorry, it's not so bad actually. 7, 16, 22, 15. It's not so bad. See you later there, Owen. Good to have you, my friend. Well, this is it then, isn't it? So I could move them, and I could move them in combat mode. But if I move them in combat mode, that's assuming that they won't arrive. But if they go in combat mode, they won't make it back anyway. Not in one turn. But then even if they don't make it in one turn... So if they don't make it this turn, they're still going to be there next turn. When presumably the infantry is going to arrive either that turn or the turn after. I think I'll have the tanks remain here. I'm going to have the armoured car unit go back. The armoured car can head back. The infantry may or may not arrive, but even so, if he's attacking the tanks, okay, I can replace tanks. But if he's still attacking, he's using supply. He's building up that fatigue and disruption as well. And there is a chance that the actual units do arrive there. So we'll see. We'll see. Obviously the bombers attacking him would be great, so we can switch the bombers over to do that now. Right, let's see. So I do need a garrison here. I can just have the mortars actually cross over here. Yeah, that's fine by me. Move the mortars across here, that's fine. Just take control of that hex side. The rest of our men can move. The divisions can move on over here. I would have been very pleased had he had to go into Changsha. Had he retreated into Changsha, I would have been very happy there. That would have bottled them up nicely, but it is as it is. He is moving into superior terrain over here, but he does have low supply. Yeah, not many bombers flew today, because oh no, then again they did hit out over here. Righto. Still moving to the north over here then. Some tankettes there are nice. I'm not sacrificing them. They shouldn't shock attack, should they? It should be okay. We have about 861 AV. Should be okay, really. I know there is a possibility of a shock attack. That's a fair point, really, isn't it? I guess I can't guarantee that there won't be a shock attack. But even then, Yeah, I know about the hex size, but we do have the AV here. I guess in fairness, I don't need to do that at all then, really. So they could stick here anyway. That's fine. Ah, okay. I thought if you had a certain amount of AV, or does that only happen if you cross from a side that you then control the hex side for? Fair enough. It's a good point well made, really. It's a good point well made. I'll take that on board. How you doing there, Alex? Turns very interesting. I do have a bit of more, a bit of a hoarse throat here today. A bit of a sore throat here today. I do think I have a bit of a cold or something of that nature. So I'm going to try and say my voice a little bit more. But the turn's interesting. It's a big surprise. Yeah, so they can head that way then. They can remain. Mortar battalions can head that way then, I guess. Ah, if you are controlling hex side, right, okay. See, that's what I was thinking of, but yeah, that's a good point well made. I didn't realize, right, okay. That's good. That's good clarification there. I enjoyed that. Right. So what are the numbers here today then? So we are now at 20,000, which is quite nice to see here. I can go ahead and rebuild that unit. Oh, so it hasn't wiped out the Naval Guardmen, apparently. I imagine some of them did actually make it short, perhaps? 2 AP, sorry, 2 PP's not bad. I think that heads to Tokyo if I read that. Okay. Yeah, so things are going fairly well. We do have our forces marching over here. Yeah, the tanks are going to make some good progress, actually, so I can have the tanks continue on that way. They will slow down, but then there is a road here, so that's not too bad. I thought it'd be better to actually move through the cleared terrain there. They're moving this way. We did have a sub-attack over here, but the APs are actually alright, so that's not too bad. They're headed down here to Manila to pick up units, really. Oh, tracker. I don't even have the tracker installed on this laptop, actually. I will have to look into that, though. I could send you the turn if you'd like to look at the actual tracker. I forget what information you need now. I think you just need the save, don't you? It's been so long since I've used it, actually. Okay. So these ships are heading over here to pick up that artillery. I don't like that on its own then, actually. I'm not seeing sub though. Right, they're kind of the engineers north. Those APs are heading into Batavia. An AS has arrived. I'm going to have the AS actually go ahead and disband in here. Okay. They can finally take that. Okay. Yeah, so not so bad then for the most part. Not so bad. I think I should go ahead and move those transports out of it, really. They've still got another day before they have to go into combat mode. Yeah, once we're out of these mountains, I'm going to be quite happy there. Nasty, nasty mountains. In the future, though, we'll obviously have a unit. We'll have a garrison over here at Paoshan, maybe a division, or I don't know, or 2 divisions, or something like that, in the far future of Paoshan. And that's going to be quite the effective garrison. But then I believe after that, we could just have holding units in each of the mountains and just really make it a nasty, nasty situation for him, really. No, I think we're looking pretty good, though. I think we're looking pretty good. So what are we on track for, then? Let's see. Ah, interesting. So supplies moving out here. That makes sense. I do want these guys out of the way. We can go ahead and attack over here once again. So they're going to shock attack again. Yeah, that unit is a bit of an arse, so we'll get rid of that. They're making good progress towards Kashgar there. Okay. We'll attack over here again. I'll just keep attacking until he surrenders. These units moving over here then, so eventually we'll be able to get him there. Yeah, so in general, things are looking pretty good. We'll keep attacking here until he does surrender. We do have our troops moving towards Pakoi now. That's good. Righto. So elements of the 84th did survive, and not much, but these are the... Yeah, so it looks like these are the ones that were holding it up then. I guess in reality I should just taken those guys and just had them move back when it was safe, but yeah, I guess it isn't it? At least the units are destroyed outright. I can rebuild it. I can rebuild. I do have another AV though. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad that these units are heading out. I do feel like it might be worthwhile to have the carriers potentially move to the north, perhaps. Now, what are we looking at? 14. And let's see. I'd have to really think about the situation, because it does make me wonder, what do we do with the Kid of Batai? So we do have a lot of options now with the Kid of Batai, which is actually really quite interesting. And I do feel like the Kid of Batai is actually in a very safe position. But then so is he. he may continue to push on the Marshals, but in fairness, I could actually go ahead and use the Kidpatai fighters to long-range cap over Roy Namur. And it's only really Roy Namur that matters right now. I will take all these other ships and get them the hell out of Dodge, but it's not that much in the Marshals. It's actually a bit of a porcupine for him at the moment. All that matters is really the airfield over here at Roy Namur, but then this is a known factor and something I can actually work with, really. I do really want to get the air defense regiments out here. That'd be excellent. I really do want those guys. So it's kind of tempting. I could have the units of Roy Namur potentially run cap. This is it as well, isn't it? Because we do have a Kidpatai. I could have the units of Roy Namur potentially run that cap, shepherd our actual units, and maybe even just have a G3s run naval search. It depends on the situation and how it develops. I think if I was to have the G3s potentially go for a... could he be going for a cheeky landing? I mean, if it does, then that's going to be a risky as hell situation for him, because we can amass quite a lot of force here. I think it'd be too early for him to go for a landing. If he does go for a landing, that's going to be very interesting. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. It does suggest to me that this is just a carrier mission. The raid of the Marsh Islands. But this Marsh Islands actually does have some defences to play with. I do feel like it might be worthwhile to have the Kidpatai go for a more northernly movement. The reason being that if he does decide to go this way, but even then, he knows... I mean, this is it. Look at the fact that it's 14 from Roy Namur and 14 from KYJ. This is what he did at the start of the war. He knows how to play this area. He knows that we will have our torpedo capability here. He's obviously very, very aware of all that. He could go south, but then this is it. He knows that within 14 hexes of the Marshall Islands, he can be potentially attacked. I think the weather did us a bit of a favour, really. What's the bad weather? It's interesting, though, that the weather's so bad then at the time. Yeah, so I think the weather might have done us a favour then, because it had us going with a high amount of zeros, low amount of G3s, which, not great, because if you want to actually get a hit, having low numbers isn't fantastic. I think had we had all the G3s actually go in there, we probably might have been able to take out Yorktown or something of that nature. That would have been a very good result. So, in some ways, it's good that the weather was bad because it kept the number of zeros high. Not great because we didn't have a 1-to-1 ratio. A 1-to-1 ratio or better would have been fantastic. But we had a 2-to-1 on our end. Which, not bad, bit of a Pyrrhic victory, probably the way to look at that, because it does attract some of his actual cap. Not much, but at least some of it. It gives him information that he's aware now that there are zeros here at Roy Namur. He's aware also that he hasn't actually hit many naval bombers. He didn't actually shoot down many naval bombers. So he's going to be at least somewhat aware that we still have that capability. He doesn't know where the Kidpatai is. So... the position I'm going to take as a temporary one for now is it might be worthwhile to have the zeros at Roy Namur potentially go for like a turtle move perhaps. There's actually not much in the Marshals that really much matters that can't be repaired afterwards. So I think we might go for like a cap over at Roy Namur. Now, we do have a Kidpatai on its way, if we so wish to do so. We can have them on their way. And that gives us that striking capability and the additional cap, well, additional fighters there. But if it goes, I mean, this is it. What is his objective now? What is his objective now? I could even have the G3s actually still set to strike, but I could actually have their range reduced quite a lot. But then it depends, really. If he comes in for a bombardment, he's going to do that on a full speed... unless I go for like a night mission, I might go for like G3s at night. That might be a potential way to get something there. Not guaranteed that it won't have actual escort, but at least let's say a potential way in. But he'll be aware of that. I could even have the G3s move to the other islands in the airfield. Island airfields in the area, and then we could have them run the naval search perhaps. Lots of options. Lots of options. I do apologise for the weird speech today. I'm a bit tired, and I think I do have a bit of a cold, so I'm kind of like blah. But, I don't know. I feel like potentially turtling a little bit that Roynemer might be a good idea, because then we can actually take advantage of the different range, different altitudes, a range of altitudes even. But then that assumes he's going to be hitting Roynemer, but then again, Roynemer is the target. Does he have any information over here at all then? He does not. He does not. He doesn't even have information on Roynemer itself, per se. But he's aware of numbers. We're equidistant in carriers. That's an interesting one. So the Knivotai would move about 8 hexes, which would put her about there. Like, let's say if I just move... Well, actually, no, they move a bit further than that, but... let's just say 8 for now. That would put me 6 out from Roynemer. We can strike at 7, which would be there. I guess this is it, really, isn't it? If he comes in to hit Roynemer with a bombardment, which is the only thing I could see him going for, really. His next move is got to be some sort of bombardment. He's moved into the area trying to actually hit at our naval bomber capacity, is how I see this. So then he's actually like, okay, well, he does have some zeros, he does have naval bombers. I've not seen all the naval bombers, but he has a fair amount of zeros. So at that point, you either back off, but he's brought a lot here. How you doing there, Shu? I know, right? Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it. It definitely does feel like that. This is my white whale. My white whale. Oh, dear. I mean, this is my white whale. I like saying it like that. I mean, this is it. We could go for a night naval attack. Because then this is it, isn't it? Like, if he's actually going to come in here, he's going to be going full speed. A night naval attack might actually give us something. I could potentially have it set to like a lower range, so that we don't engage his carriers, perhaps, and potentially engage a bombardment force. It is a very interesting situation. I'd hope that we might have had it. Well, actually, no. I suppose, in fairness, we do have. I can only assume good information. Yeah, they were written off, which is a shame. Potentially so. Potentially so. Excuse me. And there we go. The ASICs have made advances R&D. Very interesting. And I do have a submarines actually heading south. I think I'm going to continue them out this way. We've seen a number of times that he is operating convoys without escorts, so clearly he does feel fairly safe, and we need to take advantage of that where we can. I do still have some submarines in the area that might be able to respond, though. Yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting day then. But I mean, this is it. Of all the places for him to attack, I think the Marsh Islands is probably one of the ones I would prefer. My top place for him to attack would probably be Rabaul, because I feel this is the area that we truly have a lot of capability in, for the most part. Maybe not so much offensive right now, but I think the infrastructure is actually pretty good in this area. But the Marshalls is not bad. The issue with the Marshalls is that we are concentrated in Roynemer and Kwajalein. But even then, that works to our advantage somewhat. I can hedge my bets and just defend Roynemer. I do need to pull those ships out of there, though, if they can. But we do have the Knivotai to actually pull up behind here, so that's not too bad. And the Knivotai does have a fair protection. I mean, it's not as great as it once was, but it's still not bad. And we do have Kongo here, Kirishima, Furusaka, a couple, well, quite a few destroyers, but we do have another 2 cruisers here. But then we also do have the Fuso and Yamashiro. And as far as it goes, like, as it goes really, there is the Nagato class that does have the 400mm guns, And they do have 5 more deck armor. They might have 30mm of additional belt armor, in fact. Haruna needs to be sent to join them in the north. Oh no, they have 30 less. Ah, there we go. Yeah, so the Nagato class actually has the largest guns right now. They do have 5 more deck armor. But actually, it's the Fuso class that has the most belt armor. Do they have more tower armor as well? No, less tower armor. 65 less tower armor. That may be potentially more important. I'd assume tower is like the command. But as far as it goes, they're less... They have slightly less protection versus aircraft, I guess. I don't know how much... I suppose they have less on the tower as well. Yeah, they have substantially less armor on the tower. But they have 30 more millimeters on the actual belt. So, as far as it goes, I reckon they're probably the best protected versus enemy warships. Less protected versus aircraft, but not substantially so. But then this is it. The reason why I used the Fuso class here at Roinoma instead of a Nagato class was, well, while they do have smaller caliber guns, 36cm guns is still a large caliber. That's still going to do damage. Their job there is just to really stand unto the last. Their job is to take hits. Try to prevent a bombardment at all costs, any cost. If they can prevent it, then that's a job well done. But well, this is it, yeah. Oh, well, this is it, yeah. That's also a very interesting question. But then if they're coming in here for a bombardment, it does have... I mean, that's a very good point there. It's a very good point there, Azcona made. But then it depends on what he's doing when he comes in here. Like, when they come in to bombard, they can change the surface combat, but I'm not entirely sure if that changes the range at which they engage. It does depend. I don't think they can be surprised, but maybe they can be surprised because there isn't a task force in the area, isn't it, really? So that's a fair point. I could potentially have the Fuso class stick at Quadrillane, however the hell you want to pronounce it, and have them set to reaction, so that they react into the enemy task force and potentially have the opportunity to surprise it. I'm not sure if that would actually increase the chances of surprise. But it's probably better to have her remain in Hex because then, well, they are in Hex. They're under that protection. The difficulty that we do have over here at Roinoma, which is why the battleships are here at Roinoma, is that Roinoma doesn't have the defenses that Quadrillane has. Quadrillane, how do you want to pronounce it? Now, Quadrillane actually has a naval fortress. It's not the biggest one, but it's at least something. It has 12 centimeter guns, dual purpose, 80 mils. Not a huge amount, but at least something. She also has the benefit of 0 mines. I thought we had mines. I guess I don't have mines. I thought I had some mines here. I guess we don't. Indeed. Okay. Possibly so, but then this is it. They may not be there to stop the bombardment. What matters really here is a bombardment. That's what I need to stop. The fighters are there to try and prevent any sort of like attack by air. So yeah, in fairness, they're doing what they need to do. I think this is the best we're going to get, really. I think we'll have the Kilgore turn and then head this way. Even if nothing comes of it, that's a day. I can handle a day. If he does come, that does present a position potentially further Triti's air power. We're actually in a very interesting position. I'm fairly happy as far as it goes here. But we'll have to ponder on that. I do suggest that you guys have a think about it as well. I feel like the situation calls for potentially a little bit of turn here at Roinoma. And having Kilgore actually brought up to provide that striking capability. Now, we do have the G3M2s, and I could set them to a night naval attack. But it depends. I could also have them set to night naval search, which could improve our chances with Kilgore potentially, or something of that nature. We'll see. Do I move him at full speed? Maybe not. They can bombard afterwards. If you remember at Rabal, they went in and they fought the actual ships that were there at Rabal, but then they bombarded afterwards. So they will still do it. Their mission is still bombardment, but when they engage, it is surface combat, but it is still bombardment. Indeed. But until next time, thank you for watching there, ladies and gentlemen. Arigatou gozaimasu. It's been great to have you. If you guys are enjoying my content, please do go ahead and follow me here on Twitch. That'd be great to try and get those numbers up. I don't really much strive, but it'd be nice to pass that 1,000 mark. Just because. I need those big zeros, baby. Thank you very much for that, ladies and gentlemen. I shall see you in the future. I'm a little tired. I may even go for a nap. We shall see how the tides pan out. Until next time, goodbye for now. If I can find how to end